Shalom Aleichem again, Bruchim Abayim, and welcome back to our weekly shir, our Sunday morning shir of Hilchos Kibud. Try to make it 9 minutes to be able to pack in some of the most important halachas and some of the most important things that we mentioned already a few times, how much bracha and siyata d'shmaya are connected to these wonderful mitzvahs that we are all trying to excel in. Kibud. So we're holding now also in Chodesh Nisan before Pesach. I want to point out an interesting line that was always said over from the Chazon Ish. Many Bochrim would come and approach the Chazon Ish and they would tell them, they would say, now is the time where we're all from yeshiva, we're going home, we want to go and ask the Rav, what exactly is the best thing we should do? Should we review what we learned during the winter? Should we prepare for the summer? What exactly should we do? What's the best thing we should do? So he told him, he says, whatever you do, learning is great, you should do that, you should ask your Rosh Hashiva. But one thing is for sure, when you come home and you go and you spend time with your family, you haven't been with them for a long time, definitely it's a kedai thing to do. It's to learn Hilchos Kibud. And that's something we should always take chizuk in, right? As much, even just listening to a few minutes on a Sunday, to be able to be mechazek in these halachas we get faced with and we get approached with these questions all the time about how to go and properly respect our parents. What a wonderful mitzvah it is and how important it is, especially Pesach time, where a person, a child especially, has the opportunity that he can go and help out, especially if someone's staying home for Pesach, you can help out and you can clean up the house and you can be mekayim. So many mitzvahs you can fulfill. How important is that? It's an unbelievable thing. So that's a message from the Chazon Ish, what he used to tell to the Bochrim, the young children who would come home from yeshiva and be with their parents and spending time with them for a while. Okay, we're moving along in the siman like we were starting with in Yoredeya, siman Reish Mem. So we mentioned a bunch of halachas until now. We're going to continue carrying on, skipping a few sifim. We hope that eventually we will get back to them. But right now, I want to speak about Sif Tes Vav. Sif Tes Vav in the Shulchan Aruch in Yoredeya Siman Reish Mem. Sif Tes Vav brings out for us a Gemara in Bava Metzia, Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, where we learn over there a halacha that what happens when a parent comes and asks a child to do something which is against the Torah. Right, if you remember last week, we mentioned some cases the opposite. When a child, if he sees a parent which is doing something which is wrong, is he allowed to go and correct him? But over here, this is the other way. A parent asks the child, can you go and do something? But the child's not allowed to do it. Whether it's something which is also from the Torah, or whether it's something which is also midrabanan. What is the halacha? So the Gemara over there in Bava Metzia Lamed Beis, it says that Atem, you and your parents, your children, all of you are obligated to be mechabed me. Who is that? That's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And therefore, no one is allowed to go and do something which is also if his parents are telling him to do it, because his parents also have to go and respect the wish of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So the halacha is, like it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch, based on that Gemara, is that whatever it is, if it's a Isser D'Oraisa or even a Isser Midrabanan, whatever the case may be, a child does not have to listen to a parent if they ask them to do something which is wrong. And not only is it wrong, it's specifically wrong in the sense that it's forbidden to do midiraisa from the Torah's point or midrabanan. That's the clear halacha that's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Now I want to share a few interesting halachas that come out of this. Some of them we don't have a clear answer to because they depend on the case, but we'll mention them just to bring out the point. And some of them are clear cut. For example, the Chofetz Chaim in his Sefer, Chofetz Chaim, Hilchos Lashon Hara, in Simin Aleph, in Siv Hey, he writes over there, what happens if a parent asks a child that they should go and reveal to them something which is Lashon Hara. So he writes straight out that a person is not allowed to tell even his parent, even if they ask him, no, I want to hear, what did this person do? What did they say in shul? How did he talk to you on the street? When you walked into the supermarket and you bumped into this person and he made a whole fit, what exactly did he say? I want to hear the whole story. So when a parent asks a child to reveal for them something which is forbidden because it's transgressing the halacha of this Isser Lashon Hara, so of course, as the Chofetz Chaim, you can't go and tell even your parents. You're not getting a mitzvah by telling them, it's forbidden. It's also to tell, you're getting a mitzvah by not telling them. That we see in the Chofetz Chaim. However, it's pointed out in the Poskim that there are certain instances where a parent asks a child something, and when they're asking it for them, if they tell them, listen, the reason why I'm asking this from you is because there's going to be a big to'elas if I know what exactly happened, or what exactly this person wants, or what exactly this person does, or says, or is, whatever the case may be, in such a situation where there's going to be a constructive purpose in you telling the parent, then, according to the klolim, right, according to the details that are involved in Hilchos Lashon Hara, so you would be allowed to go and do that. Interesting halacha, which is not related to Kibud Avayim, is that Moshe Feinstein writes, based on this in the Tshuva, he writes over there that sometimes a melamed, a person who's a teacher in a school, a lot of times he wants to know who did something wrong. So he writes over there that a person who is a melamed, a teacher, is not allowed to ask, is not allowed to demand from a student to tell him something if the student has to speak Lashon Hara, unless, of course, there's a constructive purpose over there. But if it's not, and he just wants to know who was the one on Shabbos who jumped in the shul and made noise, which has no constructive purpose to the teacher knowing about it, so they should be careful about that also. That's also another halacha. There are certain cases that come up that involve very sticky situations. For example, I was asked one time, and I later saw that this question has been asked many times before, but I was asked by somebody whose parents were not so religious, and they unfortunately don't keep kosher, and they told the son that we're having a great party, a 70th birthday party for the parents, and they want to know whether or not the son can join them. They didn't really ask the question. The boy wanted to know, because the boy, he was Shomer Torah Mitzvos Baruch Hashem, and his parents unfortunately were not. And they said, we're making a party in a restaurant. He said, great, okay, I want to come. Yeah, the only problem is when he found out what restaurant it was, he realized that it was a restaurant that wasn't kosher. It wasn't kosher at all. It wasn't a restaurant that maybe wasn't up to his standards. It wasn't kosher at all. So he wanted to know if he has to listen to the parents to come. So the truth is that many Gedolim already had discussed this shaila, and I had looked up what they discussed and what they spoke about in their tshuvas, and it basically came out that, of course, a child who's in a situation like that would be making a big chil Hashem, right? He's going to go with his yarmulke into a place where the parents are eating just because they want to have a birthday party over there, and he should go and sit there and make a chil Hashem to sit in a place where it's not kosher. Then for sure, a boy who's in a situation does not have to listen to a parent when they want him to go and ask him to be a part of such a meal in such a restaurant. Of course, there are situations where it's only a hechsher issue. Maybe a parent doesn't hold of, a child does not hold of the hechsher, and a parent does, and they invite you to a certain restaurant. So there, obviously, there's much more room to go and say that the child should go and participate, especially where there's going to be food that can be eaten over there, and there's no question of a chil Hashem. Only a chil Hashem would apply if a person's going to a non-kosher restaurant. What are you doing in a non-kosher restaurant? And an option to go and tell him to take off his yarmulke, that's for sure not an option. Why should he have to do such a thing? Therefore, another example of a place where someone shouldn't go and listen to his parents. Now, there are many cases, like I started to say, that people get stuck in situations where a child wants to do something which is, by him, considered a part of Yiddishkeit, a part of the way he serves Hashem, whereas parents say, no, this is not the way you have to do things. For example, they asked Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, they told him like this, they said, listen, I want to know if you're allowed to go and tell a child that he can't wear tzitzis. I don't like when he has tzitzis hanging out outside. So he said, tzitzis for sure, you can't listen to your parents. You have obligation, if you're wearing a garment that has four corners, you have to go and put the tzitzis on them. Of course you have to wear them. But he said, if it's about wearing it outside, some people have a custom to wear it outside, and the parents don't like when he wears it outside, so then of course you should ask your Rav what's exactly the best thing to do, how to go about it, if you should listen to them, if you should not listen to them. Okay, so we have a lot of cases that we want to continue with. B'siyata d'shmaya, we hope that we'll get there next week as we get closer to Pesach. Everybody should have a continuous great day. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you, Mitzvah Hashem, next week.